Hello and welcome, I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes soloing the Stalker. We're level 38, just hit that last time. We're on the Envoy of Shadow story arc. This mission says you should bring help. We're not going to bring help, we're soloing the Stalker. But we do acknowledge that if we get to a point where we have to defeat the Envoy of Shadows, we will need to drop back to... Well, we'll start with level +1, and we might have to go to level +0 to beat the Envoy, because he's pretty darn tough. And I might have to change up my tray of inspirations, but I don't think we fight him yet. I think you fight him at the very end of the arc, and I think we have a couple more missions to go before we get there. So we're going to just continue with our +2 missions. And as we go, as you guys know, I've mentioned a few times that I've been kind of toying with getting back into like board game wargaming. I loved it when I was a kid. I could never get my friends into it, but you can definitely solo these things. You just play both sides equally well, and I'm willing to do that. There are also solo rules for some of them and that sort of stuff, and some of them are solo games. And as I said, one of the ones I've become very interested in is Advanced Squad Leader, which of course is a huge money sink. I was looking at a guide for, I mean, you can get it now apparently. Hasbro bought the rights to the Avalon Hill games, and then a company called Multiman Publishing, which is a play on the idea of, in war games, there are counters for units that are one person, called single man counters, or units that are squads, called multi-man counters, and so Multiman Publishing is a play on that. But anyway, they seem to be pseudo-publishing, check it, that's not Envoy of Shadows, pseudo-publishing the, okay. The Avalon Hill games again. I say that because it kind of. We're going to bring him over here. I just don't want to get the demons involved yet. I say that because they are they publish all of it, but a lot of them are out of print or out of stock, and so you can't really get all of it. But there are like, so the way the game works, Advanced Squad Leader, and I now remember why, and I'll get to the point of this in a minute, but I was just for reference, I now remember why I didn't buy it when I was a kid. Because the actual game, which in today's money costs $100, probably back in the 80s it cost in the 50s, was a binder. And we're going to use focus accuracy here and see if it helps us out. It was a loose leaf binder of rules that that were just the rules of the game. There were no playing pieces with the game, and then you had to buy like what they called a module, or what we would probably call today an expansion pack. That was a box set of maps and counters for the Germans of this World War II game and the Russians, and scenarios for a bunch of scenarios for the Eastern Front that go with the maps and stuff. And so, I'm sure one of the reasons I didn't get it was because I was like, there's no way in today's money, it's $100 for the rules, just the rules, and $150 for that first box set with the maps and the German and the Russian counters. Then there's a box for just called the Yanks, that's just the American forces, and not all the American forces, just the European infantry forces. And so you can play the game with just the first box and the rules. Is this the Envoy? Okay. But you can't play it with just the first box and the Yanks, because you won't have anybody to fight against. And if you want to have anything like a normal World War II experience, you're going to have to then buy the Germans, the British, and the minor allies. You're going to have to buy the French and the Free French. You're going to have to buy the Japanese and the Chinese. I mean, there's so many boxes, and a lot of them depend on other modules. So the first module only needs the rules. The second module, the Yanks, in order to play the scenarios in there, you need the first module because you got to fight the Germans. And then if you want the Japanese module, you got to have the Yanks module. So like there are all these what they call dependencies. And that's probably why I didn't buy it years ago, because I was in college. I didn't have the money. So anyway, one of the reasons I thought I wanted to talk about this is I've been, looking at some videos of how to play Squad Leader and just videos of other things. I was looking up, just where to buy various supplies, because if you're going to get these games, you got to buy trays or boxes or something to hold your counters, because they have lots of, hundreds. The one guy was actually showing in his video, here's all the just the American forces, and he had like 4 counter trays of counters, and it wasn't even all the American forces. He said, this is the stuff from the Yanks box. It doesn't include the Marines. Like, oh my gosh. If you had the Marines in there, the U.S. forces take up like 5 or 6 counter trays. And I noticed that his counters looked really cool. Like, counters, when they come off a tray, they're usually square, right? And they've got little punch marks on it. His were all smoothed, and the corners were rounded. And I don't know how I blundered into this fact, but it turns out that a lot of really serious wargamers, they cut the corners of their counters. They round them off. And so then I looked up, well, how do you do this? And it can be as simple as using a nail clipper to using actual corner cutting devices that companies produce for the purpose of doing this nice and consistently, because if you use like a nail cutter, it'll be inconsistent potentially. That guy just killed himself, but he didn't damage me because my defense is nice and high. And so I saw that, okay, why do people do this? I agree that it looks nice, but it's also mutilating the piece, right? If I wanted to resell the set, I could imagine that somebody would maybe accept a set where the counters have been punched off the sheet, as long as you don't rip or tear or break anything. But if you actually go through and cut the corners, it's like, cutting the cover off of a comic book or something like that. Or I thought maybe it would be. And so I Googled. You can Google this, right? The first thing I found was all the different ways to do it. And then in the comments, somebody said, as I'm a closet non-cutter, but your instructions made me consider doing this, made me consider doing the cutting or something like that. And so what I recognized was as I Googled like why you cut the corners off, what I found is, well, much like debates about things in City of Heroes, gamers love to debate and fight each other on the most absurd things, like whether you cut the corners on a bunch of counters on a game you personally own and I'm never going to see because I don't even live in your town. They really get pretty hot and bothered about whether you should cut the corners of the counters or not. And it reminded me of some of the debates you have in, say, City of Heroes about, whether you should do sets or not, whether you should farm the auction house or not. And, I just found it interesting that there's such a universality to the fact that gamers, whatever way they do something, they think is the right way, and they will fight you on it tooth and nail, even though it oftentimes doesn't actually matter what you're doing. It's really funny to think about that, and I guess I just wanted to mention it because we have sometimes had some discussions, including previous episodes recently, about where I've said, like, play the game the way you want to play it. Well, same thing with corner cutting, right? And there was somebody who said, look, cut the corners, don't cut the corners, do what you want. There are reasons why you would and reasons why you wouldn't. Apparently, the reasons why you would are, here's some hexes, right? And so you got to fit the counters into the hexes, right? And so apparently, if you have some bigger counters, the corners, right, if you have a square counter, if the corners get to the edge of the hex and then you have other units in this hex, it can cause a little bit of a mess when you're moving the units around, and I guess rounding them off just trims that, makes it a little cleaner. Somebody was saying if you have to move multiple stacks of more than 4 units and you don't have the clipped corners, for somehow or other it can be hard. Now, I'm not exactly sure what it is about that makes it hard, because I haven't actually played these games with stacks of counters in many years, so I'm very rusty on that. And well, the only thing I've been doing recently, that's not the Envoy, is it? Okay, good. The only thing I've been doing recently is playing computer versions of these games, and you can stack as much as you want in a computer hex, because the computer can just, you know, do whatever you want it to do, right? But on a physical board game, you're going to have to do something to make sure that when you're dragging a stack of units along, they all go together if they're supposed to be together and that sort of thing. One of the things I also noticed is the one guy... What are you doing? I'm going to midnight grasp you so you can't run around anymore. Well, he's gone. One of the things I noticed is the one guy had these really like long 10-inch curved forceps, tweezers, that he was using to move stacks around. Like, boy, that looks so much easier than trying to put my fat fingers in there. Why didn't I ever think of that when I was a kid? I never did. But I think that one of the... I mean, I've already got... They're not that expensive. They're like $8-10. I've already got... maybe less than that. I've already got one on my Amazon wish list. And I created a new like war game wish list on Amazon, and I've got that on there, and almost nothing else. One of the things that I've noticed is Amazon carries almost nothing of what I'm interested in. So I don't know where I'm going to... I probably have to buy them from the original publisher or something. But anyway, there are debates on whether you should use tweezers or not. One guy was saying, oh, you can, if you can damage the counters if you grab them by the edge with the tweezer. It's better to use your fingers. And I'm sitting there thinking, remembering having stacks of 4 and 5 units in a hex and going to pick up the units in the hex next to it and knocking the whole stack over into into the adjacent 2 or 3 hexes and having to figure out, okay, what was in which hex, you know? So I think the tweezers sound great to me. But yeah, there are people who argue about the way you punch the counters out in order not to damage them. And one guy was like, oh, you have to use scissors. Another guy was like, no, you have to use an X-Acto knife. Another guy was like, you never, ever, ever should use a blade. You always should just use your fingers and be very careful. So, like, it's really interesting that how gamers can get really passionate about these little details of the gaming, and they really care about it. The one guy said he never clipped corners on anything, and then he had some game where the counters were just a little too big for the hexes, and he said, all right, I'll clip the corners. And he said after he did that, he said, I can't go back. I can't look at an unclipped counter, like at a board full of unclipped counters. It'll drive me crazy. And so it's just interesting how gamers can get really passionate about their games. I think in a way it's a really good thing. It just gets bad when people start like flaming each other and battling each other instead of just recognizing, like on the one forum I was reading, Board Game Geeks or something, and it was about half the people clipped and half the people didn't, and they were basically teasing each other about it. This is a post from like 15 years ago, but they were kind of teasing each other about it, and in a good-natured way, and nobody was like flaming anybody. That's the right way to do it, I think. You know, teasing me about the fact that I have SOs and when you have sets, or me teasing you about wasting all that money on sets, as long as it's good-natured ribbing, is fine. When people start getting into flame wars or saying things like, I'm not going to let you on my team if you don't have sets, then I have a problem with it. Anyway, okay, all the work has done a good job. We're going to disrupt the exchange. The Envoy itself is likely to be here, and defeating him will be necessary to break his ability to sense and retrieve the Thorn Blades. Might be a good idea to have allies. Okay. So this is where we're going to go back to +1. I hate to do it, but I don't think we're going to be able to take a +3 Envoy. We may not be able to take a +2. We might have to redo this mission. I'm going to try it this way. And now I'm thinking I have to think about my inspirations. And I think because I was missing him a lot, I think we're going to go to the base. I might have some bigger inspirations of the yellow and purple variety. And I think we're going to try. Now we do have focused accuracy. That's going to take endurance, but we do have a way to get endurance back. I hate to ditch one of these. I think we're just going to go with the 2 endurance. And we're going to have to hope that I don't run out of endurance with the focused accuracy. I mean, I can always turn that off. But I'm hoping with the focused accuracy. So maybe with the focused accuracy, we don't have to have an extra yellow. Let's see what we've got here, because that'll tell me too. So this is our inspiration thing. We have. Oh, we got big purples. That's good. Let's grab a couple of those. And then, all right, yep. Let's just grab 4 of those. So this is going to get us plus 25% defense. And then we got some big accuracy, so let's grab one of those. That'll give us plus 18% ac. So 2 of these and then 1 of these. And then, oh, we've got some big endurance. So let's grab those. Okay, so we've got some big endurance. We've got some big luck. We've got plenty of the big rage, so let's grab that too. Yeah, let's just do this. We're going with the bigger ones because I think we're going to need them. Should we get the bigger greens? Do we have them? We do. We have a couple of them, so let's just go with the big stuff. All right, we've got our bigger inspirations. We know we're going up against a really bad dude. Are there any temporary powers that we might need that I can throw on? We can summon gears. I don't see how that's going to be useful. He'll kill them in one shot. All right. I mean, I'm not going to go try to buy any get any like pay to win vendor enhancements or anything that All right. So we're going to where? Perez Park again. He likes Perez Park. Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure this killed Silver Phoenix. Whoops, wrong place. I'm pretty sure this killed Quintessence Lass. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. We might have to go back to +0, but we'll try it on +1. We have to hope he's not +2. If he's +1 in the mission, I might be able to kill him. If he's +2 in the mission, I don't know if I'm even going to use these inspirations, because then we burn them and we won't have them against him when he's +1 in a +0 mission. So I guess we're just going to try it and see. This guy is nasty. He is, as I said in the last episode, one of the 2 or 3 most challenging enemies to defeat, because he can self-heal, because he has a bunch of debuffs, because I can't stalk him. And maybe if I come up from behind him I can. I'm not really sure. I might try it if I see him in a place where I can do it. But I don't think I can stalk him, so we can't get our big hit in. And even with the placate, it wasn't letting me get the big hit in. So I feel like we're at a bit of a disadvantage there, and I'm pretty sure my other characters couldn't do it either. So yeah, he is one of the toughest, as I said, along with, I feel like the Madam of Mystery is very tough. Because she does psychic damage, and psychic damage is psionic damage is basically not there's no defense to it, even for SR, which has defense against against melee, ranged, and AoE. It counts as none of the above. I don't understand how something can be neither ranged nor melee nor AoE, but her attack is, and it is brutal. The only thing you can use against it is Lux. We're just going to outline the room here, and then I'll come back and defeat guys. We defeat the envoy and its mission. So we do have to defeat him and his minions. Okay. And then who was the other one I said was brutal? Oh, Nosferatu. Yeah, he's really tough too. Notice the ones that are tough: Dark, Envoy, and Nosferatu. Envoy's Dark Fire, basically. Dark/Fire. So Dark, Nosferatu is Dark, and then Madam of Mystery is Psyche. Those are the tough ones. Those are the ones that I think of when I think of really tough enemies. I'm not sure. I'm not thinking. So far, none of the other elite bosses have been really brutal. We've been fine against all of them. So, and I'm trying to think of I'm probably forgetting one. I feel like, is there a Malta one that's really... I mean, I feel like the Malta Elite Boss is just that giant robot and it's basically nothing. And you can beat it, right? With your normal, like, panic powers and stuff. It's not as brutal as the Envoy. So we have to defeat the Envoy. I feel like... Should we stalk to it and just see how we do rather than try to do this whole mission? I feel like maybe we should do that, because once we've got him taken care of, the rest of the mission will be cake. Let's see if we can find him. And then, because if we can't do it, I'm going to just abandon the mission and change the difficulty. So we may as well find him first. Is that him? No, that's just a behemoth overlord. Let's find him. If we can, and well, we should be able to. Stalk to him, use our trade, do our stuff, and see if we can get him. Maybe not even use the trade. Just try to do it without the trade. Just do the overload. If we fail, we'll drop it back to +0. I think no matter what, I'm going to stalk to him because there's no point to doing the rest of the mission if I can't beat the Envoy of Shadow, because that's a requirement of the mission. Not here. I don't know where he's going to be. I don't remember encountering him on this map. I feel like when I encountered him last time it was Oren Bega, but maybe not. I know I encountered him in Oren Bega at least once because I remember going around one of those diamond-shaped corners. There's another clue. I bet he's going to be near the clue. Oh boy. Oh, is that him? There he is. Okay, he is 39. So he's +1. That's good. That little pigpen dust around him, I think that's the thing that's going to reveal me. There's nobody near him. We're going to clear, though. We're going to clear the area because I don't want these guys getting involved. So we'll clear these guys out of the way, and then we're going to go after him. I'll tell you one thing that I wish they had done. Now, we did not defeat the Envoy in the last mission. I bailed out of it, right? Because he was +3 to me or something. Yeah, we didn't defeat him in the last mission. But I feel like, and this is one of these things where City of Heroes never really had the ability to do this, but I wish they did, right? Outcomes of one mission affecting another mission. If I defeated the Envoy of Shadows in the previous mission, he shouldn't be here. I beat him already, right? He should only be here if you lost to him in the last mission or didn't defeat him, you bypassed him. He's here because you bypassed him last time. I feel like that is probably better than just having him appear irregardless. Is that the right word? No, I guess we want to say regardless. Okay, let's grab this because that's our clue. We're going to have to defeat everybody here because it says defeat the Envoy and his minions, right? Or its minions. I guess the Envoy doesn't have a gender, it's just an it. I went down another level? Yeah, I think so. This room is such a pain. Okay, there he is. Is there anybody else around him? It doesn't appear so. I'm going to come up behind him. I don't know if I'm going to be able to assassinate him. I don't think so. Focused accuracy. Don't think there's any other buffing I can do to myself for now. Let's see what happens. Nope, he saw me. Okay, big. Oh boy. I just got caught in a dark shadow mall. That's bad. Placate. Nope, he's got that. He's got that AOE. Doesn't work. Let's go in for another one of these. If I can get him pretty low, I think we're sort of doing okay. Yeah, I think we might be okay, guys, at +1. Let's see. Okay, now I'm going to hit overload. You've got to watch your health with this guy because he can do a lot of damage. But I think we might get him. Trying to keep my health max as much as possible. More accuracy, we want to hit. Build up. Yep, my computer's fan is freaking out again. Its overload for some reason is driving it nuts. I don't know why. We got him, guys. We beat the envoy. Okay. +2 might have been too much. We got him at +1. We'll just change the missions back to +2 after this. Hate having to do that, but the envoy is such a tough customer that I just thought it was probably best to do that rather than to have to deal with the whole mission over again if we couldn't do it at +2. Come on. Like, the rest of these guys are not at all challenging, so we don't have to worry about them. Probably don't need focused accuracy for right now because these are only +1s. I don't know if we got that spirit. If we didn't, that's going to be annoying because... Oh, no, we didn't, right? We have to get him because he's one of the guards. Oh, you have to stand in this place that's annoying to stand in. Back to focused accuracy. Come on. Ah, they're so annoying. There we go. Alright. Overload's gonna stop soon, I think, so we're gonna wait here. And again, my fan is going nuts. I don't know why. It only seems to happen when I run overload. It's gone up to over 60 degrees C. It normally runs around 50 in this game, if not lower. Wonder why. Okay, let's turn off our toggles. And we'll wait for overload. But we beat him, guys. We defeated the Envoy of Shadows. As soon as we come out of this mission, I will remember to put us back on +2. Focused accuracy definitely seemed to help us there. I was hitting a lot more. It definitely helps against the debuffs. We're going to have to actually watch... Oh, I've got to turn that off. We're going to have to actually watch the numbers and see how it goes. Now that we've defeated the Envoy of Shadows and we don't have to worry about him so much, let's actually do that. Yeah, as soon as the overload turned off, like literally as soon, my GPU temperature dropped by 6 degrees. Why? I wonder if I'm going to need to go into the costume creator and see if I can change or turn off the overload effect. I don't know if you can turn off... I know you can suppress a lot of the visual effects of your powers if you want to seem to be more of like a natural character who's just got a tough body rather than all these auras around him or her. But I don't know if you can suppress just one power or if you have to suppress the whole set. I'm going to have to look at that. Alright, so we got a lot of guys we're going to have to defeat. Let's find them and let's start at the top, actually, and work our way down. This is such a pain to get up to with jumping. Because you keep bunking into stuff. You see, let's use super jump. Nope. Can I get up here? Okay. Is there another layer above me, or am I at the top? I think there's another layer. I hate this room. Just because it's hard to tell when you're at the very top. I think we are. Okay. So let's take a look. These guys are, oh, they're stone, so they're going to have a higher defense. But these guys are +1 to me, right? So if we do Shadow Punch at +1, we had 95% to hit. So, and 95% on all of these guys. So we're not going to worry about trying to check focused accuracy with them because we have 95% on everything. Or nearly so. So now we're at 87, he's probably debuffing me. Those aren't really good guys to use because of the debuffs. Let's see if we can find... Yeah, there is another level. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, these guys are all probably going to be 95% to hit. Now, why did I do that instead of assassinating him? I don't know. Yeah, but I've got 95% to hit. So 87% on Shadow Maul, okay? Let's turn on focused accuracy. And let's run Shadow Maul again. 95. Right? So that's why we want focused accuracy, because it can beef us up on our 2-hit. Now this is going to be a real pain to make sure we defeated every single guy. Envoy and its minions should just be this room, but I don't know if it might be more. It's always like such a chore to figure out, okay, is this the level I've already cleared? The next level, they all look the same. There are all these nooks and crannies for these idiots to hide in. I want some hit points. Give me some. Thank you. You know, so if we go back to what I was saying before about how gamers tend to argue with each other over these things. They get very opinionated, very passionate about this stuff. Like, I could easily see somebody arguing that I didn't do the Envoy of Shadow right. That's not how I would have done it. And the thing is, guys, who cares? Right? You just play the game the way you want. This is how I chose to play this mission. I think the Envoy was a good challenge without being impossible. And most particularly, I didn't want to have to run this mission over and over again. And partly because I don't like running the same mission over and over again, but also partly because I am filming this and I don't think you guys want to see the same mission over and over again. Alright, so now this is going to be one of these, isn't it? Where I can't find the last guys. And what I'm probably going to have to do, since we whipped our way through this mission, is go out and fight every guy in the hallway so that a red arrow will light up here to tell me where the enemies are in here. As soon as I saw this room, I knew that was going to happen. Okay, well, at least these guys... Alright, so this is an air thorn. But we're probably going to assassinate him, so... But these guys are orange, so let's see. So with against the oranges, Shadow Punch is 95. Then we have 95. Then Shadow Maul... Oh no, we have 75. And then Shadow Maul, I think, also 75. So now if we do focused accuracy, Shadow Maul is now 94, right? And this one, 94, right? So we went from 75 to 94 by turning on focused accuracy. So that is why I said that will help against the higher level, the enemies that are +2 and +3. So my guess is these +2s, these guys are not really an issue. My guess is probably what we're going to want to do is mostly when we see +3s, if I think of it, turn focused accuracy on. So in an ideal world, with me actually paying attention to what I'm doing and keeping track of things, what I would do is turn focused accuracy on against +3s and turn it off against +2s. What's actually going to happen is I'm going to forget to turn it on until I get into a bunch of missed streaks. And then I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to forget after getting back to +2s to turn it off. So I'm not actually going to do what the ideal thing would be because I'm not going to remember. But yeah, I mean, I don't know that we need it against these guys, but we're going to need it against the +3s for sure. So this is my technique. When I can't find something in a mission, when I can't find the guys in a mission, right? The enemies, when I have to like not defeat all, but I have to defeat like the boss and his minions, and I can't find the minions around the boss. My technique is to try and just fight everybody in the mission. Why I do that is because if there's just when there's one spawn left in a mission like this, they usually will show you, I hope they will, where that last spawn is as little red arrows on the map, and we can look and find them. Now, if there's more than one spawn in that room, I'm screwed. I'm not going to be able to find them this way. If it doesn't mark them, because it doesn't always do it, I'm screwed and I'm not going to be able to find them this way. If there's somebody hiding here that I can't find, which there probably will be, I'm screwed because I won't be able to find them this way. But we'll clear as much as we can and do the best we can. It might be, and I hate to do this, but it might be because of this map and how hard it is to find minions and stuff on this map. It might be that I have to auto-complete this mission, even though I actually succeeded at it, if I can't find the last couple guys. And this is, you know, another one of these. They could have designed this better, right? So that at least the guys around the envoy should be, put them in a room where it's easy to find all the guys that I have to kill, right? I don't mind that I have to kill more guys than just the envoy. I understand why that is, but at least make it so that I can find those guys, right? Don't hide them in a little corner and now I have to like crawl through every pixel of the map just to find them, to defeat some stupid little yellow minion when I've already beat the purple boss and proven that I can do the mission. But yeah, this is one of these design choices that I would have had lots of arguments with, and probably did have lots of arguments with Statesman over. Maybe Positron and not Statesman. I generally argue with Positron, but I might have debated with them about it because one person was saying, and I'd forgotten about this, I think it's true, that a lot of these missions that had just been go beat the boss were changed to defeat all or defeat the boss and his cohorts, in part because of Stalkers. Because Stalkers would just come in, beat the boss, and run out, and they would do the whole mission in 2 minutes, right? Because all you have to do is just go beat the boss up. And so then they started saying, no, you got to beat the minions in the room too, so that the Stalkers had to at least deal with the aggro and deal with all of that. So we're kind of at fault, I guess. But I don't know if this particular mission was designed that way originally or afterward. It's always been him and his cohorts that I remember it, but my real memories are all from, primarily from 2019 and above, right? Not 2004. I don't have any specific memory of fighting the envoy from back then. And I'm fairly sure back then back then he was an arch villain. And He was an arch-villain and would have required an entire team to take down. But there were some guys in this bigger room, right? I think. I am never going to find everybody in here, am I? What? Who's attacking me? What? But you see, guys, why I hope why I put it on +2, because the yellows are just a walk in the park, right? They're really easy. They're not a challenge, so there's no point to like doing whole story arcs worth of missions at +1 like this. The only reason we did +1 here is because of the envoy. He was a challenge, right? So that's fine. Still no red triangles. Alright, let's try reveal. See if I missed any rooms. I did not. Okay, well guys, I'm going to pause it here. I'll go back down here and try to look and see in these rooms if I can find anybody else. I'm going to say 5 minutes. If I can't, I'm going to autocomplete and I'll bring you back. But either when I autocomplete it or when I find the actual villains, I will bring you guys back. Well, I found a guy. He was wandering around. I don't know if this is our last guy or what, or one of our last guys, but let's take him out. And that's it. That's the guy. So he was walking on this thing, and he fell off of it. So somehow or other, he was walking on this, and obviously I'm not going to see him. So we completed the mission. We completed... have we completed the story arc? I didn't notice reward merits. I guess not. We probably have another mission to do. Wrong guy. Here. Cadeo Kestrel. The Circle was looking for the Envoy of Shadow's true name. When you captured the Thorn Blades, I spoke to Icarus. He agrees that finding the true name of the Envoy of Shadow could be the key to destroying the beast before it can complete a deal with the Circle of Thorns. Da 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 da. The hard part will be going in and getting it. I might need allies. I don't think we're going to have to fight the Envoy anymore. So let's go ahead and set us back up to +2. If we do have to fight the Envoy, I'm going to be screwed. But let's see. So stop the Researcher and his men. So it doesn't say we have to stop the Envoy anymore. All right. Let's just go straight to Talos. I know we're edging close to an hour, and the last episode was over an hour and a half, I think, which I didn't realize. But let's see if we can beat this mission. Oh! There's a Mastermind's pets. Demon summoning is very cool, actually. What is on me? Did somebody buff me? Oh no, I just happen to be around the AoE of that character, I guess. Did we get any new recipes? Reactive armor. I mean, that's... I feel like that'd be worth keeping for another character. But I'm not going to keep it because there's nowhere to store recipes. And it's just going to clog my inventory, and I'm going to end up probably selling it by accident anyway, so... I guess I could mail the recipe to one of my other characters. I could make a mule character, I guess, and mail the recipe to myself. I always remember at one point we had to create... We were playing Neverwinter Nights, my friends and I, my best friend, and the good Rob and I were playing it. And seriously, you're right here. I mean, that's okay, but anyway, um, so we had we were playing in this module where the module I've mentioned something about this before. The module creator was kind of obnoxious, and he said, basically, I'm going to strip all the magic items off your characters in too bad. And we were like, okay, well, we really don't want to lose all of our magic items. We'll play the module without them, but and that we were like level 8, and after we're done with the module, we want to go get our magic items back. So, um, we so we said let's create a character, a mule character, and hand everything to him or her. And so my best friend created a half orc female named Mula. And I just thought it was really funny. Mula the mule. Good grief. That battle was harder than it needed to be. Okay. Because I didn't placate. I should have. It's funny that the air thorns are like the least dangerous of the casters. Earth are probably the most, and yet as you get into higher levels, it shifts you into fighting air thorns. It's like, why are you making me fight the weaker ones at higher level? It's a little strange. Okay, we're going to need focus stack for this. That takes care of him. There we go. Wow, these guys are packed in cheek by jowl over here. Oh, we gotta zoom in. Placate. Oh, I did that too fast. But we're alright. Now we'll do this. So you might ask, am I going to become a counter clipper? Don't know. Don't have any counters yet. I kind of like the way they look. But I am concerned about the idea of mutilating the pieces. I don't know if that affects like the collectability. It probably does. Well, the one guy was saying he had never heard of counter clipping. And then he was at some game convention and he bought a used war game, and I guess the person who owned it had counterclipped, and it was the first time he ever saw it, and he was like, hey, this is really nice. And he said to one of his friends, he was showing it to one of his friends, and he was like, I wonder how they came out of the counter sheet this way. I've never seen them like this. And his friend was like, buddy, they didn't come out of the counter sheet like that. There's 1,800 counters in this game, and the person who owned the game spent the time to clip 1,800 times 4, you know, like 8,000, almost 8,000 corners, one at a time. There are like jigs and stuff you can use to do this, but you always have to do one corner at a time, one counter at a time, as far as I know. The one guy said he knew he had a friend who used some sort of a jig with an X-Acto knife where I guess you stack up a bunch of them, and then and it has like a little spot, and you slide the knife down it, and you count, like, you can cut the corners of like 10 of them at a time. But he said it doesn't make even consistent cuts, right? So he doesn't use it. Okay, +3 jerks. So we're going to need as much accuracy as we can get. We're going to want to do build up and assassinate this guy as best we can, and then just hit him as hard as we can, as fast as we can. Got him. You can see how quickly our endurance goes down with that focused accuracy running, though. And it's not too bad, but I definitely can't keep it running constantly. So this is a case where now you have to ask yourself a question, right? As from build question, right? And so we've seen that we can focus accuracy definitely helps. We can use it, but it's hurting the endurance, right? So then the question becomes, what do we do? We could put another slot in focus accuracy, reduce endurance, or we could put more slots on energy drain and triple recharge it. Right? So what would be better, putting a recharge slot on energy drain or an endurance slot in focus accuracy? Right? I mean, that's sort of pick your poison, right? You choose which one you want to do. You can only use one slot to do each slot to do one thing. Right? So you pick your poison and you decide what it is that you want to do. Now my guess is I'm probably going to go at least one more endurance reducer on focus accuracy because it is very expensive. After that, we might go recharge on this. I don't know. I need to make sure we can get all of our attack 6 slotted in. We are getting toward the end here, guys. We only have, what, levels 39 and 40, 42 and 43, that's 4. 45 and 46, that's 6. And then, wait, 45, 46... 48, that's 7 and 50. So we have about 8. We have about 24 more slots that we can do, right? And we need 3, 4, 7 here. We probably need at least a few more here. Ideally 5 more here, that's 12. I'd like to get a couple more on this, so that gets us to about 15. And we could then put a couple here, but we're also going to need 6 slots on the physical perfection or whatever it is to get the heals and the endurances on it. And we're going to need a bunch of slots on the I-beams. So that's more, I mean, that's 10 slots right there, plus a couple here. We're looking at 12 slots. We got about 8 that we need to do here. That's 20. And it leaves us with 4 more. So we can't slot everything. We're going to have to decide what goes where, and we're going to have to make some tough decisions now as we get toward the end of this character's 50 levels and enhancement slots. Right? Because you can't 6 slot everything. They purposely made it that way. You can 6 slot a lot of powers. You can 5 slot everything, but you can't 6 slot everything. So we're looking for the clue to the true name. I don't know where that is. I'm not sure if somebody has it or if there's a glowy. I think it's a glowy. I don't remember. Wow, he just healed all his hit points back with a siphon life. Didn't do you any good, buddy. Oh no, he did like an energize. That's brutal. Man, hard to get him. Turn up focused accuracy. So this is why I like the +2s, because at +3 these guys are pretty tough spawns. That's a good fight, right? I had to use an inspiration or 2. I had to use my heal and my endurance. I like that. That's a good fight. I don't necessarily want that fight every time, but that was a good fight. I liked it. Now these 3, having 3 of these guys I could live without, but We'll get him. Minions are much easier. Oh, I hate these. I hate these things that acts like a ramp instead of stairs. Where did he go? Will you please come somewhere I can see you? You're a pain in the neck. Where did he go? These guys are pretty much the worst mobs in the game. Even as minions, they're annoying. And as lieutenants, they're just practically unbearable. I was waiting there to make sure I was hidden. Something I often don't remember to do. Okay, nothing down there. So we defeated the envoy. The question is, why are they looking for his true name? Don't know. I mean, like, you would think... Oh, no, I actually need that. You would think, okay, he's defeated. Isn't he done? Don't know. Don't remember the details of the story arc enough. Placate. And assassinate. And that takes him out. Oh boy. I almost walked right into those guys. Yeah, they really have these spawns packed in here. Oh, another one. I'm leaving him. We don't have to defeat all. I'm just going to leave him alone. Too annoying. Okay, so the question is there a glowy? This is typically a room that has glowies in it, so is there a glowy in here? I hear one. Right here. Okay. Is that a boss? No. That takes care of him. Oh, and those guys didn't even aggro to me. So let's hide up again. And do another assassinate. And we've got most of our inspiration tray filled back up again. Actually, almost the whole thing, other than just one green. Inspiration's full? No. Stop the lead researcher and his men. Maybe this is a defeat all. Did I not find the lead researcher? Let's see. Sometimes he's over here. But I don't know. Maybe it is defeat all. Typical City of Heroes, right? Let's just do one more quick mission. Hour later, crawling all over Orenbega. Is there anybody down here? There is not. Okay. I know there's another guy up here. I'm just waiting for Hyde to re-engage. Take that off because he's not +3. He's not +3 yet. He's only +2. Anybody over here? I know there's a guy in the middle, but there's somebody over there. Okay. Couple guys in the middle. I don't know who we're like. We did fight the lead researcher, didn't we? So I don't know who we're supposed to fight, unless it really is just a defeat all. In which case, say so. Because if it had said defeat all before we walked in here, I might have said, well, we'll do this next time, guys. Yeah, so in the comments, what experiences have you had as a gamer dealing with other gamers who are trying to tell you how to play the game? And if you don't play it their way, you're doing it wrong. We know lots of City of Heroes stories, but have you had any other experiences, like in role-playing games, tabletop, where you have somebody who's trying to play your character for you as if they know your character better than you do? Other MMOs, right? I know there was, I can't remember which MMO it was, where, and I can't remember which class it was supposedly like nerfed or whatever you want to call it, and it was similar to COH Defenders, right? If you're playing this kind of character or this kind of class, we won't team with you. Oh, I think there was one, I heard one story about, I think it was EverQuest, and it was, I had a, oh, that's the last guy, okay. I had an assistant, his name was Ian, and he had been playing a lot of EverQuest, and then he started playing World of Warcraft when it first came out. But he was talking about EverQuest and how he, I think it was EverQuest, and I can't remember what class he was playing, but it was a pet class. He's the one who first told me the name Meat Shield, right? A Meat Shield is when you put your pet up there to take the aggro for you while you stand back here and pelt the thing with spells or arrows or whatever. And he said, he said, yeah, I use the pet as a meat shield, which I thought was really hilarious. But then the other thing he said is, like, he basically had to solo EverQuest because he said no one will let me in their groups. And I said, why? And he said, because they don't like whatever this class is. They think they're weak, and they won't let them. They pretty much pickup groups won't let you on. And I was like, buddy, you need to get yourself a guild or something. I don't actually. I don't even know if I said that to him, because I don't think I'd played an MMO at that point. I was playing Neverwinter Nights with my friends, I think. And because Star Wars Galaxies had not come out, he told me about it. And when I looked it up, I was like, oh man, this looks really cool. And then my best friend had told me about City of Heroes, but it hadn't come out yet. This was like 2000 and when did Attack of the Clones come out? 2002, right? So this would have been right around then, because he was in our lab when Attack of the Clones came out, and he went to see it with one of the lab techs at midnight, at the midnight showing at the Cinerama in Seattle, which had like this huge, it wasn't an IMAX, but it had a huge screen. And actually the tech invited me to go, and I was like, honey, I can't go to a midnight movie, I'll fall asleep. And she's like, come on, you're not going to fall asleep on Star Wars. I said, I will fall asleep. Plus, if I'm in the movie until 2:30 in the morning and I don't get home till 3, how am I going to come to work in the morning? You know, our PI, our lab, the woman who ran the lab, was not going to let us take the morning off because we went to see Star Wars. So the two of them went instead, and I don't remember if they liked it or not. A lot of people didn't like Attack of the Clones. I thought it was okay. It was my least favorite of the original 6 Star Wars movies, but I know he went to that, and I think that was 2002, right? I'm pretty sure. And so he was in the lab in '02, and it was right around then that he was playing EverQuest, and whatever class he was playing was not accepted into groups, and people thought you were stupid to play that class. It's just a terrible class. He said it's great. It's easy to like. It's good for soloing. It's one of the best soloing classes. And he said it actually does work fine on teams, but people don't think so, and so they won't let him on a team. So go ahead and post your comments. What experiences have you had, like the corner clipping, or you can't play certain classes, we won't let you on a team, or if you don't have certain types of enhancement, well, we won't let you on your team, or if you're doing certain power sets. I was told as a scrapper, if you're doing martial arts and super reflexes, we're not letting you on our team. Right? Like I was told on the forum, I wouldn't let you on my team, and I was like, I don't care. I play with a super group, and they don't do that. But yeah, there were people who on pickup groups, they wanted to know your power set. They wanted to know how you had it enhanced, and if you didn't do it the way they thought so, that they thought you should, they wouldn't let you on their team. My personal experience with people like that is good riddance. I don't want to be on a team with somebody like that. But yeah, post any comments you've had about that, and let me know, because it's an interesting pattern in gaming. Until next time, I'm Scrapperlock, and this has been City of Heroes, soloing the Stalker.